So today we'll try to understand material master. Okay. So what is meant by material master? So why we need a material master in our organizations? So first question is why we need to create different masters. Okay. So the mainly SAP will be helpful to us to understand the business processes. So how the SAP will be given different kinds of the masters, how we need to handle here in the material master. So if you talk about the business, if you want to manufacture the one of the fine-tuned finished product, what you need generally. So you need different kinds of the different materials, like you need the raw material, you need the semi-finished, you need packaging materials. Okay. So you have the multiple different kinds of the materials are available in the organization. Okay. So how are you going to differentiate? So this material is raw material, this material is a semi-finished material, this material is packaging material, or like how you try to provide the differentiation.
Everything having some part number.
Okay, the part number is one of the thing. So the part number is like we differentiate based on our how you able to see in the business side. Okay. So even for example, if the new guy is joined, okay, so he don't know how need to handle. So in that case, what we will do? So what is the easiest way? So for example, if you give me part number, I don't know whether it is raw material or semi-finished material.
Okay. Yes.
So how if some layman need to understand what kind of material it is there. So what we will do generally, we will maintain the some different number ranges. Okay. So generally, so how system we going to differentiate is first with the industry sector. So for example, if we are in the manufacturing, then we will select the manufacturing as industry. Then we are going to differentiate with the type of material. What kind of materials we have? We have the raw material, semi-finished material, packaging material,
Finished.
So like we have the different types of the materials. Even SAP will provide around 40 different types of the materials. Okay. Okay. So now, for example, if the some normal layman or business want to differentiate the type of materials, how the things will be handled. Okay. So first one is raw material. Okay. So we have the raw materials, for example, ROH. Then business say, if any raw material I want to see with this number series. Okay. So if any number is created, okay, so I can see this is with the raw materials. Okay. So when we are different raw materials, business need to give all the things. And for materials, how I can see, for example, 3 series. And HALB, how it can be 4 series. Okay. So by seeing this number itself, I can differentiate whether it is a raw material or a semi-finished or finished material, what kind of material it is there.
Okay.
Okay, so this is how we need to maintain the number ranges. Okay, so now I'm telling we are maintaining the number ranges. So it is not like that much of easy to maintain the number ranges in the system. Okay, so there is a concept called as a number grouping. Okay, so first what we will do, we'll create one group. Create one group. Okay, then what we do, For example, I created ABC one group. For this group, I whatever the number range is assigned. Okay, so the number range also I'll create like is 10. Okay. So what I'll do, this 10 is my number range. So what I'll do, I assign this number range to group 10. Okay. Then for this group, I'll link the material type. Okay. So this is the combination if I'll maintain the number ranges to the group. Okay. So what will happen once it is done like this? So whenever you are creating the material, how you create the material in the system? So there is a transaction code called as a MM01. Okay. So if you use a MM01 transaction code, what will happen? By to enter this MM01, you need what are the first mandatory fields is industry sector. Industry sector, for example, manufacturing and material type. Material type is raw material. Okay. So if I enter this industry sector and this thing, what is happening in the backend system? Okay. So once we enter this raw material type, immediately it will look for the this raw material is linked to which group? So for example, ABC. ABC is what is the number range we need to assign to ABC? 10. What is mean by 10? It will go and search this number. Okay. So that way system is assigning this number ranges. So it will come as this one. So if you maintain this number ranges as a internal number ranges. Okay. So if you maintain the external number ranges. So there is a concept called as internal number ranges and external number ranges. Okay. So if you maintain external number ranges, so what is happening? So even though you maintain the number ranges, but you need to provide these numbers to system. Understand?
Which numbers?
So for example, so now this is I maintain as an internal number ranges. So system automatically assign these numbers to the my material. Okay. But now there is a check. So whenever you're defining this internal and external, there is a checks. Okay. So if you won't select anything, then system will be considered as a internal number ranges. Okay. So if you consider it is a external, okay, so you want the number ranges to be external. Okay. So what is happening? System required you need to provide the tick mark. Okay. So what is happening? The tick mark will be there, and that can be so if you tick that external, system will expect the external number ranges need to be maintained by someone. Okay. So now you just like you enter the same thing, like you maintain this industry sector, this one, and raw material type, this one, and you click on enter. What is happening once you click on that one? Once you click on that one, automatically system going to check this raw material is assigned to which group? ABC group, and what is the number range? 10. 10 is a external group. So it will be asked, please enter external number ranges. Okay. Which means system is asking, what is the external number range? Okay. Okay. So at that time, you need to maintain number. So like whatever the external number ranges you maintain there, so that number range you going to maintain there. Okay. Okay, clear? Okay, clear. Okay, so this is about the
how the number ranges will be assigned to the material type. Okay.
Okay.
So this is like how we can differentiate the industry sector, how we can define the material type, and how we can maintain the number ranges, like how we are going to assign these number ranges to the things here. Okay.
Okay.
So the next one is we will define a purchase group. Okay. So what is meant by purchasing group? Okay. So in organizations, if you want to procure some material, so not everyone will go and procure this material. Okay. There is a different organizations. Okay. Different organization or different departments will be there. So those guys will do the procurement. Okay. So generally we will call it as a purchasing guys.
Okay.
Okay. So if you want any material, first you need to inform to them. Then that guy will look into it and they will say which from which vendor we need to procure so and so material. Okay. So then those guys will be informed. Okay. Then we can so those guys only generally raise a order to the so and so vendor, and they will try to get the material to us on time. Okay. So that that department guys, so generally we'll call it as a purchasing people. Okay. So how you are going to differentiate that purchasing people? Okay. So them we will create it as a purchasing group. Okay. So it is like a it is a 3 characteristic code. Then we can define 001, 002, 003, etc. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is about how we can differentiate the purchasing group. So we will see in the system practically, even though just I'm telling about that theoretically.
Okay. Okay.
So you will understand. So next one is material group. Okay. So the material group is a group of materials with have the similar attributes and characteristics. The grouping we will call it as a material group. Okay. So for example,
Okay.
I differentiated. I have the raw materials. Okay. I have the raw materials. Raw steel is there, and some other different steels I have.
Okay.
Okay. So for example, material group. Okay. For example, I want a material group as a steel. Okay. So how many forms I can procure the steel? So steel can be, I have raw steel. Okay. And I have a semi-finished and a finished steel. Okay. So if I create raw steel means it is a raw material, then it will be number will become in this format. Okay. Semi-finished steel, it will come from this format. So this number range. Okay. Finished steel I can see as this number. Okay. So for me, different materials. Okay. So for me, there is a different types of the materials like a raw material and semi-finished, finished. Okay. 3 different types of the materials we'll have. Okay. So if you see which will have the different ways of the things, raw material will be having raw steel, semi-finished directly we can consumption it, and so we have this different things over there. But how the system is helping now I want to look at about the different steels. Okay, so it may be raw, it may be semi-finished. I want to look at. Okay, so how I can look at. Okay, so there is a concept called as a material group. Okay, even though raw material semi-finished, so you can link this group to the all the material types.
Okay.
So what will happen if you do that way? Even though it is a different kind of the materials, But if you want to search, okay, so that you can identify easily.
You can search in material type.
Materials, different materials you can search by using of the material groups.
Okay.
Okay, so that is a importance of the material group.
Okay. That raw steel, we have 10,001. Who can create this number?
So this is like a functional. So it is like two ways. Either we will give access to the business, so business will give, or we have the separate team called as a support team.
Okay, they will create a number.
They will create it. So for example, if we joined, like if you join in the support team, then we need to create the materials.
Okay.
So it is not the creating of the materials, all the work you need to do. So whatever we are doing now,
Oh, okay.
so all the things we need to handle in the system.
Okay. Right.
Okay. So this is about the how the material can be done here. Okay.
Okay.
Material group. Next is a purchase value key. Okay. So what is mean by this purchase value key? What is the importance of this purchase value key? Okay. So generally, this purchase value key will be helpful for us over deliveries, under deliveries. Okay. And acknowledgements and shipping instructions. Okay. So these kind of things, if you want to give to the vendor, so if you want to procure some material, if you want to maintain what is the tolerances you want over delivery, how much you want to maintain, and what is a shipping instructions, what is a purchase value key. So all those things you want to maintain. So that all things we can handle in the purchase value key. Okay. So what are the things we can handle this by using of this? First one is tolerances. Okay. Second one is shipping instructions. And third one is order of okay. So by this we can handle. So what is the importance of the tolerances first? Okay. So generally, for example, I ordered a quantity called as 100 kgs. Okay. So what the businesses did, so they are expecting some more materials. I mean, for example, they shared 100 quantity, and the vendor, for example, vendor find that 10 quantities are extra. Now vendor want to supply 10 quantity extra, even though I given an order to the 100. Okay. So generally, if I order 100, system will be have the provision you can take only the 100.
Yes.
Okay, you cannot take more than that. Okay. So if you want to take if you want to take like more than that, okay. So what you can do, so that time what we will do generally, we will maintain the tolerances in the system. Okay. So how you maintain the tolerances in the system? Any idea? So in the purchase
Yeah.
order,
The inventory team will maintain all these things.
purchasing team will maintain.
Yeah.
So purchasing team will maintain these tolerances. What we will do, we will maintain the tolerances in the system. Okay. So once we maintain the tolerances, what will happen? Okay, even though you given an order has 100, okay, then your vendor, okay, your vendor provided stock. Sorry, your vendor provided 10 kgs extra.
Okay.
So if you maintain, for example, 10% tolerances. So out of 10, how much 10% means? 10. Correct,
110.
na? So I ordered as a 10 kgs. Okay.
Okay.
Now I want a 10% tolerance on that one. So tolerances means here you have two things again inside. One is over delivery and another one is under delivery. Okay. So what is mean by over delivery? Over delivery means, for example, I given a 10% tolerance. Okay, on order coordinate. So for example, my order quantity is 100. Okay, 10% means how much? 10 kgs I can take extra. Okay, so total how much I can take? 100 plus 10
10.
is equal to
110.
110 quantity I can take.
Okay.
Okay, so if you maintain these tolerances or delivery tolerance, what will happen? System will allow. Okay, until 110 kgs. Even though you given an order 100, but if you maintain 10% tolerances, system will be allow to do
110.
the goods receipt. So this is like
Okay.
how the tolerances we are going to handle in the systems.
Okay.
Okay. So even similar to the under delivery tolerances also. So how the system going to handle over delivery and under delivery tolerances and order of acknowledgements from the supplier and shipping instructions. So these all things can be handled in the form of the purchase value key here. Okay.
Okay.
And we have the different topics in the material master itself. So once it is done, now we have the different transaction codes. So MM01 generally we use to create the materials. Okay, MM02 we use change materials. Okay, MM03 to see the display. Okay, MM04 block, MM06 delete, MM04 for the changes.
This code is common for all the materials.
Yeah, everything is common.
If you need to create means, you can use only MM01.
Yes,
Same.
yes.
Okay.
So these things and MM06 and MM17, this we generally use for the mass changes. Okay, so these are the different T codes we have. Okay, and every data in the system. So generally, if you want to go for the so I told like I created some material. Okay, so where this material will be stored?
Material will be stored
In the backend. Correct.
Hmm.
For backend, where it will be stored? It is stored in the form of the tables.
Okay.
Okay, it will be stored in the form of the tables. Okay. So we have the different tables like MM01, MM02, MM03. Okay. So we have the different tables. Mara, general data for materials and MARC. Plan data, MARD, storage location. Unit of measure. Okay, so like that we have the different tables in the system. Okay, so so this all data we can access as a functional consultant. We can access. We can look into it how the how the things will be stored in the system, how we need to fetch the data, so that all things we can check.
Okay.
Okay, so how you need to access? So tables, a table you can access in the different level, SC11, SC16, and SC16. So this all things we need to check in the system, how the things will be handled. Okay, so this is about generally how we can handle the different material masters. Okay, now we will see the vendor master. Okay, so what are the control functions of the material master? Material master control functions are material type and industry sector, because by using that only we are going to create the materials.
Yes.
Okay, and what is the control functions of the vendor? Okay, so here also we have the vendor account group. Vendor account group. Second one is a purchase. Purchase organization. Okay. So what is mean by vendor account group? So similarly, we have the material type. Na? So these account groups also plays a role how you can create a material in the different types. So for example, I have a account group 001. For example, so how these vendors will generally will differentiate? Vendors we will going to differentiate as a two ways. One is a domestic procurement, another one is a import procurement. Okay. So what is mean by domestic?
Domestic within 70 kilometers.
Okay. So domestic means if you are, for example, you are in India, you want to procure some material from the within the country. Okay. So then we will call it as a domestic procurement. Okay.
Okay.
So the same thing, if you want to procure from the abroad, not from the India and from the abroad.
Okay.
For example, some machinery you want to procure from the Germany. Okay.
Okay.
So what you will do, generally you will look for the imports procurement.
Okay.
Okay. So imports procurement means you need to procure from the some different vendors from the different country. For example, you want to procure some machinery from the Germany.
Okay.
Okay. So what he'll do? So how you need to pay him? So first thing. So
dollar.
So,
Purchase team and handle all this.
correct. So generally what we'll do, so here we need to understand if you are procuring within India, generally so here if you go for the domestic procurements, so generally what will happen, the domestic vendor payments, like you will do RC, 80 days payment in the Indian currencies. Okay, even the vendor in the India. Okay, so for example, if the same vendor it is not there in India and he told you need to procure so and so from so and so vendor, so that guy will accept only the dollars.
Okay.
Okay, so how you need to pay? So you need to pay in the dollars only, not Indian currencies. Okay, so there our way of working will be going to change. Okay. So generally in the domestic, what we will do, we will handle currency as a INR, and if the same if you want to procure the same material from the abroad vendor, then we are going to maintain different dollars or different currencies depends on the vendor. We are going to handle that one. Okay, so here now I want to differentiate the domestic vendors and import vendors. Okay, so how I can do it? So I'll define two different codes. AC01 is one code and AC02 is my another code. Okay. So generally AC01, I'll tell as it is my domestic. Okay. And it is my import.
It's for easy understanding.
Pardon?
Suppose if AC01 means it all comes under the domestic.
Domestic, yes.
Okay.
And the AC02 all come under the imports.
Okay.
Okay. And what I'll do, I'll create one number ranges. So here I'll make 1000 to 1000. Then what I'll do, I'll go to AC01. I'll assign this one. Okay. So what happened whenever you are going to create this vendor AC01, okay, by using the, so what are the important things when you are going for the vendor creation? XK01. So what is things you will give? Vendor account group. Vendor account group and purchase organizations. Okay. So vendor account group, purchase organization plays a major role whenever you want to create a vendor.
Okay.
Okay. So whenever you try to give this vendor, so what is happening? System initially will check which kind of vendor it is. It is a domestic vendor or it is a import vendor. If it is a domestic vendor, system will go and check domestic number ranges, and it will be maintain the same thing there. Okay. So that is a way like generally how you are going to handle all those things. Okay, so it depends on like a vendor and the purchasing organizations. These will be placed the number range for the vendor, and so by based on this vendor account group, we will tell it is a domestic vendor or import vendor, and by purchase organization level, we are going to handle it is a currency, what kind of currency for this vendor. So if it is a local procurement, we will assign a local vendor. Local purchase organization, if the same vendor is domestic procurement, then we are going to handle at the different purchase organization level. Okay. This is about domestic vendor and import vendor. And here in the vendor master, we will define the payment terms. Okay. So do you know payment terms?
No.
So 90 days or 180 days. Okay. 120 days. There is a different payment terms will be there that we are going to see. And Incoterms. You know Incoterms?
No.
Incoterms means international commercial terms. Okay. So whenever we'll procure some material from the abroad, I mean imports procurement. So at that time, generally we will maintain the international commercial terms, like from where to where this material is mandatory and where he need to ship. If this is include like a free on board, free for shipping or cost insurance, right, will be included. So that 15 Incoterms will be there, that we will see how we are going to maintain the different kinds of the Incoterms in the vendor master. And we will see in the currency. Okay, so generally these currencies, all things can be handled by the finance team, but we will look into it, how the things will be handled there.